So today we're using these size 1 Gamakatsu Saltwater series hooks. I just start wrapping the shank. So I kind of want to have the silver stuff pop. That's why I chose this hairline dub in flash. Come all the way back to where you ended your first wrap. Doesn't have to be super clean on the wraps. I mean, it is nice, but now grab your Flashaboo, right? And tie it in, slide it down with your thumb so it's not popping out anywhere and it doesn't look nasty, because this stuff's hard to trim, especially when you just got a little tiny piece you want to nick off. But keep her right there. Now you just take it, fold it over on itself so it forms like a triangle. And then after that, you'll get real nice clean wraps. Try and keep it as tight as possible. It can be a real pain. So now we got this fly wrapped up, and you'll see what the body looks like now. What I like to do, I think this kind of adds to the longevity of the wraps, especially if you're fishing them hard. I like to take this Deer Creek, find UV resin. It's like it's kind of like what Loon does. They hit it right on the head with this stuff. You don't get any of that tack. It doesn't really yellow, doesn't crack. It holds up to big fish with rough mouths. I mean, it's beautiful stuff. It really adds a lot of lifelike qualities to your flies too, which is why I love it. I've got just empty bottles of this everywhere. It's killer. But anyways, you don't have to go overboard with it. Just enough to make it look like skin. And then hit it with the light. Now flip your vise over, split it in two, pull it back. Do one wrap, two wrap, three wrap, and then that's kind of when I like to check to make sure everything's even. Separate, pull some of those fibers onto the other side if you're kind of dry over there, And then also kind of pull out the ones that are going to be blocking that white streak. And if you're going for quality over quantity, I mean, you don't have to be this particular with your flies. It's just something I like to do. Now I'm bringing all that extra material back, like so. Now you can kind of pinch it so that your material is kind of at an upward angle, and then kind of brush it back with your fingers. Make sure none of the material is going over the white stuff. Tighten your thread and just barely pinch it down. Do maybe 3 or 4 wraps and then call that a day. Now take your thumb and make some adjustments if you have to. I might clip some of these off just so we can see that middle body part. And now you have yourself little bow tie. Kind of get all that nonsense out of there that's going every which direction. 'Cause that'll just get in the way. Now drop it right over where you made your last tie. Like that. And really pinch it so you're not getting in the way of that white. I'm going to do 1, 2, 3. Come in and make your adjustments. Make sure you're looking at the other side here. Pull out some of the stuff that you don't think you'll be able to make work. We'll go for another couple wraps. 1, 2, 3. I'll come down right in front of it and repeat it. So I like to color the thread red. You could use red thread. I don't know, I think when you put the head cement on, when it's still red, and then you'll see what we're going to do with our eyes, I think the ink kind of gives it a little more realistic look. That's just my theory though. Alright, so you use Zap or whatever. I've been using this because I don't have any Zap. It is holding up pretty good though, and I like how it's a little nicer to work with. This is head cement, or hard as hole penetrator from Backcountry Laboratories. Alright, we're going to let that dry. These are from Old Florida Fly Shop, and I think they are definitely by far the most badass eyes. They look very realistic, especially when you throw some of this on top of them. So take your Zap, just a tiny bit, put it right over the knots that you did, or your wrap, I mean. Making sure they're even. And level. So leave it there. And yeah, leave it here and just let it settle a little bit. Sometimes there'll be like, it's almost like a spider web type looking thing that comes off these. So I just try and grab them before it gets onto the eye, because you know, it's just another imperfection on the eye. But this isn't a crazy fly to tie. You know, you can get really picky with your flies and take time and make them look pretty. Usually this will take me I don't know, 8 minutes of fly. But when I'm videotaping it, I want to make it look good. Alright, we'll come back when this dries. So, I've been letting it sit for a couple minutes. You can let it dry fully before we start the last process. I don't. I've land tarpon and all that stuff on these flies, and the eyes hold up fine. But anyways, so you take your Deer Creek, this tack-free 100%. This it is tack-free. You'll find with a lot of UV cures, you'll be messing around with it after you're done, and you see like your thumbprint on the eye, and it takes away all the realistic qualities, because it kind of, I don't know, dampens the flash and clarity. But this stuff it's perfect. So I like to have my light in hand. Just drop a little bit on there. Don't don't go overboard, but what you're doing is you're holding the head, one, so it's kind of just a little reinforcement, and two, you're making it way more lifelike. You're making the I don't know, it's if you ever hold a small minnow or a glass minnow or anything like that, I mean, it really looks similar. Shells on crabs, shells on shrimp. Yeah, this Deer Creek's really got it down. I don't know if the company is actually Deer Creek or if it's owned by somebody else, but they just make a killer product. And now, so I've got the belly side done. Just hit it real quick. And then you really want to make the last part, and I think it's kill it, like this is the make it or break it. Just a tiny glaze over the eyes. You don't want to leave any dry spots because then it'll look patchy, but it the old Florida fly shop eyes and this UV cure here, man, that's deadly combo. So I got my little donut glaze on these eyes. And the other thing it does too, it's adding a little bit of a width to the head of your fly, and that's pushing water, so it's kind of making that fly move. You're not going to be able to make it perfectly even on each side, so that'll kind of add a little tiny wiggle factor to your fly. Nothing too crazy, but I mean, it helps. Good peacock fly here too. I mean, this is a real nice, just all around fly. So again, like I was doing earlier, I do hold it. I do go a little overboard with the light, but it's just because I don't have time to be tying 15 of these every day. So I want to get the most life I can out of these flies. I noticed a little dip in the top. I want to make it look as close to a ball as I can up there. think I just got it. Let me get that light. There it is. Yeah, see, it's nice to have that light ready real quick. But we'll heat it for a little more. And there she is. I get 8 in a heartbeat. Hold on, let's see if I can put this down here. So that's what we just tied. I'll put that. It's a nice little fly. But again, I apologize, camera being on my laptop. That's just a quick rundown on this little fly here. Again, you don't have to do it in black and purple and white. You can do it in whatever color you want to do. It's just real quick, real simple. I took a little while in this video just because I wanted to be thorough with you guys. But yeah, this is one of those do-it-all flies, man. This will get eaten in just about any kind of situation. Another cool trick on these is if you're in deeper water, you can wrap some weight where we did that body, and then put your flash over it, and it actually gives it a cool little texture. Makes it look a little more scale-like. But yeah, man, these are the money fly right here, man. It's a good fly.